Check, 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 check. Vocals look good. Levels are looking good. Everything here is checking out. And let's make sure. I need to make sure this is here as well. Okay, let's do study mode. All right. Hey, good evening, everyone. LP Trades, what's going on, man? Jay Whitway, early bro, had an early work day. Okay, great. Heavy duty, good to see you. Good to see you all here. So, yeah, I know. I'm trying to aim for 8 o'clock. I know it's like super late to go at 9 o'clock because people want to get to bed. So I'll see what we can do about that. So let's see if we can talk through a few things here. So as you all know, you might have seen my community post already. I'm looking to kind of dial back on streaming until I get my accounts back in good order. I am in drawdown and I was trade copying across the accounts, so I'm in drawdown across all the accounts, right? So I'm going to be going back down to 1-2 micros for a little while, so until I build back that that loss. And I do know that during my back testing and trading this week and this weekend, a lot of the fundamentals are there. It's just a matter of I think I have too many distractions. So let's take a look over at our charts anyways, so we can get you prepped for the week and tell you what I'm seeing as well. So we'll go ahead and get started here and get you out hopefully within about 30 minutes is what I'll aim here. So as you all know, we always look at the week. We look at economic events during the week so that we can identify which ones in history we know that are market moving. So we know that things like jolts and Powell, we know that those cause a lot of volatility. We also know that unemployment claims and PMI cause a lot of volatility. We also know that non-farm payroll will cause a lot. When it's combined with unemployment rate, it's going to cause a lot of volatility. And so for those who have been with me, you three have been with me for a while, so you know that during non-farm payroll weeks, it's going to be really important for you to pay attention to what the new week opening gap tells you. So it's going to be important that you draw that out and keep that in mind. So what we're thinking is typically during the beginning of the week, I see this as a little bit more of like if there's 2 down days on Monday, Tuesday. One other consideration is there's no trading on Thursday, so Friday is going to be especially goofy. So it's a really weird week. I think Friday is going to be absolutely bonkers. Trying to trade during the day, a day after a holiday, so it's going to be pretty. Yeah, LP Trade says there's so much news this week, I don't even know when to trade. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to be trying to take a look at London on the days that I'm at home, and that I can handle going to bed early, waking up, trading 2 a.m. to 5 a.m., trying to find the move there. And then if I'm able to this week, if work doesn't have an insane amount of meetings like it had last week, then maybe I'll get the luxury of trading on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, with Tuesday and Thursday. I don't know if I'll get London sessions there, but I think that this particular week, I'll be looking at relative equal highs, relative equal lows, find those setups that have 2 lows, relative equal lows, that you're seeing price head up. It's headed up for a while. You're seeing it create those and then takes it and then heads back to new week opening gap, and then maybe overshoots that, starts to create lows, and then midweek starts to head back up, maybe during unemployment claims, right? So I think that each one of these volatilities is probably going to end up taking out a low. I think we're going to see a initial part of the week higher low on Tuesday. But it's hard to, especially where we're at, like on the charts, it's really hard to say. So let's take a look at the charts to give us a better sense of what might form and where. So let me bring over, let's start at the weekly chart, right? Okay, so this is our weekly chart. Let me get rid of this here. So again, we know that we're again above this weekly high. We haven't seen an intermediate term high be violated yet. So I've seen a new intermediate term high get formed here actually. So if we think about it, the last intermediate term high where we had a short-term low or short-term low, intermediate term low, sorry, where we had a short-term low to its left, even this counts as a short-term low technically, but this short-term low, and then this short-term low, this is considered an intermediate term low. And we like those. We like to see those because we kind of can mark those as, hey, that's an intermediate term low. I want to watch out for something like that, right? So on the flip side, though, where have we seen an intermediate term low before that, right? Is this a short-term low with a short-term low to its left and right? No. Is this one? No. Is this one? No. Is this one? Yes. So we're seeing intermediate term lows continue to make higher lows. So for the time being, even though we could trade lower, my bias is still bullish in terms of market structure. Likewise, on the weekly chart, right? The previous intermediate term highs. And this is in 2022 model. If you're looking to understand why and get more detail around this, this is in the 2022 model, which I have actually continued to balance my time between, is reviewing previous lessons, right? To try to get that there. Jay Whitway, I know the market is still bullish, but I have so much sell side market. Yep. We'll get to that, and definitely there's room for that. So if we take a look at the market structure on the weekly, this is going to give us the best view of overall where things are at this moment. So let's take a look here. Do we have any other short-term highs that have short-term highs to this left and right? No. Not until here, right? And then we have this one here, which is not short-term, an intermediate term high, but rather this one is now, though. It's a short-term high. There might be one even higher above it, but we don't know yet, right? So for the time being, while market structure is bullish, we need to think, okay, where is our next potential draw on liquidity, right? So we came down. Notice one thing last week that I pointed out to you, and I'm going to make this wider so we can zoom in on the weekly chart. We're going to spend a lot of time here because this is weekly prep. So notice, remember I had told you to mark out the midpoints of these, and we saw this get taken on Friday up to the midpoint of this sell side imbalance, right? So we did not breach the high here, and we did not breach the midpoint of this fair value gap in here. So on the weekly chart, what's still remaining, right? This portion of the weekly chart is still remaining as buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency, right? Now, when you see something like this, if we're bullish, I would expect us to come down to this low, maybe target this low, and then take out that midpoint, or barely not take out that midpoint, and then head higher for the week. Now, this to current price action is starting the week trading upwards, right? So we'll talk to that in a little bit, but just so you know, we took out the midpoint here, and we haven't taken out the midpoint of this buy side imbalance. And I think that I like that one. I like that buy side imbalance remaining as a draw on the first primary draw on liquidity, right? So that's all, like, knowing that, to Jay Whitway's point, I would be looking for evidence of shorts, if at all possible. I actually don't know what this is. What is this? 2010. Oh, I think this is a wrong new week opening gap. I'm gonna remove it. So with that in mind, if you're expecting bullish price action, you want to see these down close candles be supported. You want to see price bump up from them quickly, which it was. This is exactly what it did, right? So price trades down to it, heads up higher, trades back down to that. So that high here was 19,241. This low was 19,233. So it just barely touches it there. So you want to find and expect that price is likely to head higher, but in order to do so, you can look for the shorts in this direction. We've taken out a lot of highs. It's almost the new month, right? So we're in a new month come tomorrow. So we're going to have a new monthly candle open. Now, what does the monthly candle look like? So we see that this is already opened up for July, right? Where would, like, if we see the monthly structure here, right? Where would the next viable thing be? Well, we might end up aiming for this month's close, last month's close. We could aim for the dynamic buy side imbalance that's down here, that's imbalanced to the buy side. So sell side, it's inefficiency. So sell side, it would make sense for us to come down a bit. Would it make sense to come all the way down to this order block? No, not really. Not because we're not if we're bullish. So if you want to try to catch the top, then you can try to do that. But overall, I think the larger plays will be looking for upside plays. There will be some downside plays this week because as we think about new week opening gap, we should see the price hovers around there. So let me place that new week opening gap first, so we have it on the charts to refer to. I'm gonna place it over here on a different chart. I'm gonna place it over on a different chart here, so we have them here. Those black lines that you see up here are in the new week opening gap. Oh, where did we open on the minute charts? Around here. Okay, great. So we open there, close right around here. So we have a new week opening gap. Fantastic. Okay, so let's go now down to the, I'll leave this on. Actually, let me make this, let's draw our weekly imbalance levels here so we can see them on the daily chart. So I'm just going to draw this here. This low is 19,725.25. So I'm going to mark that there. We're going to mark that as a weekly level. Okay, great. Copy. And then we're going to put this weekly level down here too as a high of 19,415.75. Just so we know where those weekly levels are on our plate. Kind of like how we put the imbalance down there, right? We know that's the remaining imbalance. So this is now on a daily chart, right? So what do we have here? On the daily chart, let's look at overall market structure as well on the daily charts. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our ellipses. We're going to take our intermediate term highs, which I think this one still happens to be the intermediate term high. We're going to see where the next one is that has a higher short-term high in the middle and two lower short-term highs in the between them. Doesn't look like there's any here. There's a lower one here, higher one here, higher one here, higher one here, lower one here. So there's one over here. And then on the daily chart, we also see a short-term, and for the time being, this happens to be a potential intermediate term high, right? One thing that we see here is that this sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency, it pretty much was immediately rebalanced. So I am looking short this week. So, okay. And it's good that price is heading higher first, because that's what we would expect when we would have a week that we want to look for shorts, right? So we're starting to see inklings of this, but let's take a look at the on the sell side if we have intermediate term lows yet. And I don't see anything rebalanced on this side, so I'm not going to consider this one first. It is a short-term low, but I don't know if it's an intermediate term low just yet, right? But I do know this one is, because there's a short-term low here and a short-term low here. So I still see that this is an intermediate term low. We see, to Jay Whitway's point, there's a lot of liquidity waiting for the downside. And I see that, and it's just about time for a quarterly shift too. Typically, July is a overarchingly bullish month, okay? So that is one thing to keep in mind. Seasonal tendencies come first because over time, they have proven to generally be flowing in that way. You can go to a site, I think it's a MRCI, and you can look up seasonal tendencies for whichever instrument that you're trading, and then you're going to be able to look and find out and analyze when things happen here. Typically, the first half of July is very, very bullish. The second half of July, generally bullish, but slowing down. So I'm expecting, because we had, because April and May were just starkly different, I'm expecting price to continue higher. But I do think that there's room for us to aim lower, at least towards this weekly buy-side imbalance, consequent encroachment. Now, if we trade down here and we take out these relative equal lows here, I'm going to zoom in just a moment for you. Because, okay, so the thing to note here, you can see market structure still bullish, right? You can see that, and I should probably just zoom this way. So if I take, it's not going to let me, it's too small. Okay, here we go. I'm going to have to do this manually here. Okay, so intermediate term low, if I could just grab this thing. I just want to grab it. There we go. Okay, I'm going to have to do it this way, apparently. Okay, so where's the next intermediate term low that has a lower low? Is it this one? No. Is it this one? Yes. So here's our next intermediate term low. And then on the high side, let's take a look. So as you can see, intermediate term lows have been respected here. The next high that is an intermediate term high, that one's lower. This one's lower. Probably this one here. I'm gonna have to zoom in for this one, I guess. Okay. So we have an intermediate term high here because there's a short-term high to its right and left. So we're gonna expect this one to be one. Here there's a short-term high and a short-term high. So technically that was one as well, right here. And there's a short-term high, short-term high, short-term high. So technically on the daily chart, this is an intermediate term high as well. This could count as one as well, right? And then now we see, so we see intermediate term lows here as well, right? Well, we care about these intermediate term lows because they are major indications that, hey, our price has shown a tendency to continue or to break, right? Oops, that was too much. So I'm marking the daily charts intermediate term highs and lows because I want to know where is market structure, how is it forming, right? Is it forming well? So this is what it looks like. If I take a look at solely the obvious ones, and I haven't even put the other definition of intermediate term highs. I haven't considered that yet on this, but you can see generally that if we take a look at market structure, higher lows are generally forming. We did see this dip here that scared a lot of people out, but generally highs are continuing to form. and this is considered a long-term high now. So you could kind of have like two of these there if you wanted to identify that as a long-term high, because there's an intermediate term high to its left and an intermediate term high to its right as well. So even this one up here, surprisingly enough, even this one up here is an intermediate term high on the daily chart. So let me see what's in this chat. Smart move, because I'm no one to speak, but did notice you juggling time to try and trade. You just don't seem as focused for my man. Yep, absolutely. It was really tough. Very, very tough. LP trades, there's so much news this week. Jay Whitway, I know the market's being bullish. Yep, okay. Not after that debate. Not after that debate, yeah. So, yep, that debate was pretty brutal. I'm not gonna lie. So, anyways, so we see that we don't have any other short-term lows on the way up here, but we do start to see a potential. I do consider this to be an intermediate term high, so I think we're going to trade lower this week in the beginning of the month. And it's probably just going to come down and take these stops. If it takes these stops, okay, here's a model that I want you to look for this week, and it's really important. So make sure if you haven't written this down somewhere or back tested it, I highly recommend you back test this strategy. So if price ends up trading down past this rejection block and it takes out this set of relative equal lows, but it remains within this 50%, it doesn't take out the 50% week mark here and then completely retraces, it's going to be really interesting, because typically when I see that signature, I see us start to aim for these, like, buy side liquidity areas. So something to keep in mind. I do recognize it is July 4th week, so it's going to be a little bit different, but I will be looking for price to head down at least to take out this short-term low, and then from there to take out these relative equal lows if possible. So this, where we're at right now, we expect a bit of consolidation. You can kind of see how when in previous times, when you got to a top, you started to see a couple of cracks in the kinks in the crack, in the mail, chain link mail. So you might end up starting to see some more accumulation here on a non-farm payroll week. That means Friday is typically the day that the market moves into the next direction that we're going to take for the month. Now, if July is going to be a bullish month, that monthly candle needs to trade down first before it will continue higher and continue to take out highs. Now, one thing that I don't know if you remember me mentioning this, but if you recall, tentative schedule of Treasury buyback operations, they have buybacks in June, buybacks in July. All of July, they've got buybacks. So that's going to support the market. So I still see, and I'm looking for the largest of trades are going to be risk on to the upside, right? So yeah, I think that's going to be, I'll look for a trade lower to trade higher this week. I think that the weekly profile makes sense to trade lower a bit. One thing you want to watch out for as well, there's a new wick here. You're going to want to watch out for its consequent encroachment as well, right? So let's take a look and let's swing grade this one so we have it on our plate. And this close was 19,927.25. So let's make sure we mark that on our charts. Oops. .25. And the low there was 19,725.25. So let's make sure that low is there as well. Okay, so where's this wicks midpoint? It happens to be roughly at 19,826.25. So I'm going to mark that out. And I'm going to mark this as a... Oh, whoops, I'm on the wrong one. Where's my... There it is. We're gonna make this a daily consequent encroachment. So we're gonna make it purple. We're gonna make it dashed so I know it's a consequent encroachment. And now I have a daily, right? We can mark this out. There's a daily tail consequent encroachment. So we might see if price is going to support movement to the upside. We could see it just take the midpoint of this wick out and then continue to head higher. I would be surprised if we don't get moves bigger than that this week because of our highly volatile economic calendar this week. So watch those silver bullet times, especially 10 a.m. I feel like you're going to get really nice displacement on those 10 a.m. Like 10 a.m. on Monday, we've got ISM manufacturing PMI jolts on Tuesday. Inevitably, you are going to get some sort of a imbalance during the jolts opening. So Wednesday, you're going to have your 8:30 a.m. and 10 a.m. Moves as well. So this is how you, like, whenever you hear ICT say there's always a move at 10 o'clock in the morning, if you combine the economic calendar and you look at those days that have 10 a.m. on there, you're almost guaranteed that one, you're either going to trade down or up to a already established fair value gap, at least on the 15-minute chart. Oftentimes I look on the 4-hour chart to look for things like I did on Friday, right? So that's how I think I line up my days to really seek out those 10 a.m. silver bullet days, especially when there's like an 8:30 a.m. move and there's a 10 a.m. move that that's a well over in the opposite direction, and we start to see movement up towards a short-term high or short-term low that we took out, that we created at 8:30 in the morning. So I like the ones that we have 8:30 a.m. and 10 o'clock a.m. news, because oftentimes you're going to see that either they compound and they continue going, or they reverse and you can use those as a target. So, yeah. One thing that I also have started to use is a concept called Globex IB. That is just the initial balance of the first hour of the day. So from why is that showing as 3? Okay, that's weird. So anyways, what is the lowest low during the first hour of the day, and then what is the highest high within that first hour as well? For now, I can't seem to, I mean, we're only at what, 8:31 right now, so for some reason my data hasn't caught up yet, so I can't really see that data as easily. I don't know why it's starting us at like 20. Something's up with the data. I'll probably have to reset it. But anyways, so that's what we're picturing this week. We're picturing a sell side, take the sell side out, continue, look to see if it continues into this buy side imbalance, maybe trades down and targets this buy side imbalance that has this bullish order block on it as well. And then maybe we target that during the first part of the week. If we get down to around here and we're trading down to this, there's a high likelihood that we're gonna also end up trading down to this one and taking this out as well. So it's a huge move, but I still wouldn't be bearish if I saw that, because you can see with my market structure, I can see that there weren't any other intermediate term lows created yet. And so if that's the case, I can expect from this sort of a range from this nice big move, I could see us retracing back down to 19,437 within the first few days of the week. And then from there, I imagine it would end up coming down to this old new week opening gap. Will it go all the way down to 60% and 75%, 70% optimal trade entry drill? It could. I mean, there's a really nice daily bullish order block down here underneath discount. And why wouldn't price want to trade down there in the beginning if we were going to have a really nice move up at the end of the week, right? So that's how I see market structure going on right now. I hope that me um, drawing it out for you gives you a sense of why I have been bullish these past few weeks, right? I've given you a lot of stuff in the community chats and during the weekly preps, of course, but this, I think, for me, over the weekend, as I was continuing to go back through all of my strategy, all of my foundational things that give me that Kevlar of knowing how to trade, this is what I kept on going back to make sure that I wasn't going nuts, right? So it was a good ground setting there. I'm sad I don't get to trade with everybody, but it's going to be better off for me in the long run and for everyone here if I get back to that smooth routine of being a good disciplined trader. So that's it for the week. I know we went a little bit over there. Let me see. Let me go over to the chat, see if there are any other questions here. So it looks like we got 4 people watching. Jay Whitway, LP, Heavy Duty, any questions or comments, things that you're seeing, that you want to bring up? That's what I'm going to be looking for, is a trade lower to trade higher sometime this week. Maybe non-farm payroll, we end up making the high of the week. So that's what I'm looking at. Where are you guys? Any questions or comments? Things make sense. I found that I was really good at identifying the draw and liquidity. Like this 4-hour one is really obvious to me back on Friday, but I should have waited for us to form a 9:30 a.m. drop before heading up there. But yeah, this is a really interesting one, and especially noted that this fair value gap, we did not trade below the midpoint of this. We barely traded to the midpoint of this, right? I thought that was really, really interesting. So I'm keeping that in mind, that this is kind of waiting for the next thing that's going to happen here. So of course, we want to also look at our adjacent markets, right? We want to see that we have on S&P, our weeklies continuing higher, right? So that doesn't really give us anything too crazy. It's in sync. The Dow is a really goofy one because it did not make a higher high up here, right? Whereas E-mini S&P made a higher high. The Dow did not. And so if Dow begins to fail, it's going to drag the rest of those as well. I mean, if we take a look, oops, I didn't want to do that. There we go. Let's put these up kind of like this. Okay, so if we have something like this, which is the weekly on NASDAQ over on the left here. So we can clearly see it's really shaping up to really similar to S&P 500, which was this one. And then the Dow is different here. So it's possible that we've started to crack. It's very possible, okay? So we're going to keep that in mind. We're just going to watch that over time. And where's my window? Jay Whitway, I think I'm a contrarian trader. Hey, that's good. You want to be thinking away from the norm, right? And we've gone up so much. LP trades, I know a lot of people saying reversal. Jay Whitway, I find myself always saying it can't go further. Yeah, that's the trouble with trying to pick the top, is if the market wants to continue higher, you're going to get squeezed, right? So you can definitely find trades here, but obviously give yourself the benefit of at least trying to take that trade during a turtle soup when the market's taken out a previous high, right? You're going to give yourself the best chance if you take, on the 20th, Back when we saw price end up taking out these relative equal highs up here really quick, that would have been a spot to be like, okay, I can fathom something going lower. And of course, what does it do at 2 o'clock? Continues to go lower, right? So far, this is in an accumulation area because we are at the very top. So you can expect a bit of accumulation here. So, or potential movement lower from people taking profit. So that's what I'll expect this week. Yeah. I will look for price to head down below 50% on the daily chart before I start thinking of going long. But I do think that generally, that the shoot, what was this? Shift F2. Oh, what was the command for a box? Control F2. Okay, or F12. So generally, yeah, I do see something like maybe Monday, Tuesday, either down to here or all the way down to here, you know, just one of those. It's one of these things. And then Wednesday, back up to new week opening gap. Thursday is going to be a holiday, so a half day of trading will happen on Thursday. And then Friday, I think we're going to aim for that rest of that sell side imbalance and then some up here. That would be my weekly profile, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong and it could reverse and it could keep going, right? It doesn't have to take out the high here because we've already started to see this short-term high. Every single daily candle that we end up seeing is going to be it has to support the weekly bias at the end of the day. So if we see down move first, you know, Monday, Tuesday of the week, I would expect to see continuation and reversal on Wednesday and then Friday. If we see movement higher first, maybe we see something more like this goes all the way up to here. You know, we started here, this goes up to here and then rejects there, or maybe takes the high of this and rejects there. Then I would expect us to trade lower still, back to new week opening gap first, and then lower to take out this at the very least. And then if I see something rebound from there, I would expect like something like this where there's like maybe it's like a wick or something that goes down from here down into this area, who knows. And then maybe we trade up. I don't know. I mean, this is a really odd week, right? I don't think it's going to get all the way up there. It might create like another relative equal high up here. And then maybe on Friday it goes down and then it trades up above these relative equal highs and takes out that imbalance there. So that's kind of like what I'm thinking about. Jay Whitway, October would be my first trading year. What a year I picked to start. Yeah, it's a good year to start. It's a one heck of a rise up, and so just keep on tacking those years. And I'm at roughly 2 years of trading. Actually 2 years. October of 2022 is when I first learned about ICT. So it'll be I consider that to be like the first time I actually learned with structure, with the why behind the market. And I started to see much more consistency than I had before. And I could put ideas behind where my draw on liquidity is. So I think that's going to be where we stop. That's what I'm aiming for this week. I'm going to leave you with that there. Feel free to watch back if you need to. But yeah, so this week I will be trading on my own accord. I'll be making sure that I'm taking high probability trades. There'll be trades that that I have taken before plenty of times, and I'm gonna look forward to continuing to take those as well. And then, yeah, I'll just continue to backtest and go from there. So All right, I need to go get some water. So, thanks very much for hopping on, folks. I hope this was helpful. I apologize, I won't be here during the week, but I will try to make my uh, daily predictions as best I can if I have time. It's a little harder this week because the wife's not with me. She's traveling, so gotta make a lot of food and meal prep and whatnot. So gonna be doing a lot of that too. So good luck this week. Don't get too chopped up, but remember what I say during non-farm payroll weeks. Pay attention to the new week opening gap. Try to identify what's happening, where it's happening, and try to see what and how it's supporting and trading back to it, right? It's either going to be used as a bouncing off point, or it's going to trade through it to take out sell side liquidity and then come back up to it by Wednesday. So if you're not done by trading by Wednesday afternoon, be careful. It's going to get pretty choppy in the afternoon. And then typically it gets pretty choppy. And then Friday, of course, it's going to be a Friday trading. So non-farm payroll is going to take us in the direction that we were meant to go, I think. So I think it's going to be a Friday high or low of the week kind of framework this week. So I'll be looking out for that and going from there. So good luck with the shorts this week if you're going to go short. And I hope you guys have a fantastic week. We'll catch up soon. I will be back, and I will let you guys know of some progress of me, how close I am to building back. It might take a little while because I'm going back down to 1 or 2 contracts, but let's see. With greater concentration comes better trades, better quality trades. So take care, everybody. We'll see you soon, and have a great week, okay? Make sure you stay hydrated, trade safe. We'll talk soon. Take care.